Welcome back to EChannelNews. I'm your host, Paulo Del Nibleto, and today I'm with the founder and publisher of EChannelNews, Julian Lee. And we're together because we just completed the Channel X Central Conference in the historic venue of the Old Mill in Toronto, and there was a lot of channel intelligence that came out of that. And that's one of the things that we develop here at EChannelNews that we want to bring to the audience out there that will significantly impact your business. And this one is called the MSP Poverty Line. And here to talk about this and a lot more is Julian Lee. Julian,
Hey,
welcome.
hey, Paulo, always great to talk with you, man. Now we're in record. Yeah, got to be careful what I say. How are you
Well,
doing?
absolutely. This is the fifth estate here.
Yeah.
Julian,
What? When?
at the event, I think it was so relevant from my point of view, from a socioeconomic standpoint, because when you talk about the poverty line, the real poverty line that everyone knows about, it's the minimum level of income deemed to adequately cover basics like housing, food, clothing. And we live in an age right now where it's become a daily struggle for people who are out there, working hard for a living, but that bar always keeps, and that line always keeps moving all the time. In the channel, it's a bit different, but also quite clear in my mind that MSPs, they really have a choice to make in how they want to move forward and where they want to sit on that line. How do you see it?
Oh, just like people, MSPs also got a poverty line, right? As a matter of fact, every business got a poverty line. Depending on where you are. If you're way above the poverty line, if you're lucky to be in the top 1%, you're happy, everything is good. But that poverty line, I believe, is getting harder to reach in the MSP community, and particularly over the last few years that I've noticed. Um, and a couple of data points you could probably, point to. One is that sub 20% margin
Mhm.
that just doesn't feel sustainable for an
It's not.
organization, and when you really peel back the onion, some of that actually goes down to 12, 15 points.
Mhm.
And that they're just sort of living, day to day type thing. That's a challenge, right? So just from a margin perspective, it's difficult. And then if you pile on the fact that give or take 30% of their revenues that they generate is going towards these tools to make them MSP efficient, right? And then you pile on all the other crazy stuff like compliance issues and regulations and cyber insurance and employee staff shortages, and the complexity that they have to deal with every day. And then you get into, wow, it's quite a bit on their shoulders for an MSP. So they're not making enough margins, right? How sustainable is their business? Was my big question. So that's sort of where the concept came from.
Yeah.
And then we're just trying to figure out how to move everybody from below that poverty line above that poverty line,
Yeah.
and then accelerate everybody. So that's basically the game.
Yeah. And you and I, we basically devoted most of our careers in terms of like providing that health and sustainability to this community. But let me ask you to take a step back. How has eChannel News developed this poverty line for MSP, and why did you want to do this?
We have over 120,000 folks in our community, right? And these MSPs, and we get a lot of information from them. I see a lot of data from different organizations about their margins, about their costs. I do interviews with a whole bunch of different experts in the field, and I kind of take all those data points, right, and kind of compile it,
Mhm.
and then discard some of it and digest, investigate others, and kind of come up with where are we in this journey of MSPs. I know a lot of opinions out there about the future of the MSPs. We at the event we actually talked about the future of MSPs, and we had four geniuses come on and talk a bit about what they see, and they're all right. We are moving; it's all changing. It's a seismic shift, so on. But for a typical MSP below the poverty line, it's quite different. If you are not even firing in all cylinders, if you will, to be at the ahead of the curve.
Mhm.
And the big thing that sort of like put a bit of weight on everybody the last year was the AI thing, right? Like, how do we use it for ourselves? How do we use it for our clients? And it just got a little bit murkier,
Yeah.
right? And it's for me, I don't want to say it's a straw that broke the camel's back, um, but it's yet another thing that MSP's got to figure out how to deal with. And I think we both know, Paulo, that most of these MSPs are very poor in time. They don't have a lot of time.
No.
And AI is one of those things that require time
Yeah.
to digest, right? So it was always been stewing in me. Where are we in this balance of success of an MSP and a failure of an MSP? And I know there's a cybersecurity poverty line in a way, because if you're above it, you're doing really good in protection. If you're below it,
Mhm.
you don't have much protection. Um, and you can actually apply this in many, many areas. But for us, looking at the overall MSP community, I think we all got to ask ourselves one simple question from an MSP's perspective. Are we above or below that MSP poverty line? And if your definition was really, really great, actually, it's like poverty line for me is the minimum business and revenues and margins that you need to be generating to
Mhm.
be able to sustain a predictable MSP business. Um, I don't mean hand to mouth, right? But
Mhm.
basically, you've got to have a sustainable business, right? And so
Yep.
that for me is where that quote unquote the MSP poverty line hits.
Julian, this is what's so cool about what we do here is that like you said earlier, it's all based on actual research from people in the field. Just tell me how much of a deep dive in terms of the background did this take to create this?
Hell, I mean, first of all, I have no opinions on anything. I only look at the data
Yeah.
and uh, and people what they tell me what I see, right? So, for give you an example, there's a there are some MSPs out there, a group of them that, and they're hovering around, maybe 12-15% margins, right?
Mhm.
And when you do a little dive into them about what does it take for you to actually be, I don't know, lose your business, right?
Mhm.
And it comes down to about maybe around 10 to 15%. If you lost that amount of business, you probably couldn't make payroll, right?
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a challenge. And Michael Contendo sort of shined some really deep light on that example he did at the event when he said
Mhm.
an $18 million MSP was worth a lot less than a $6 million MSP.
Yeah.
And the answer is it has really very little to do with the sales.
Mhm.
It's got something to do with margins, right?
Yep.
But it also has to do with your ability to sustain that. Is it repeatable? Is that a really cool system you've built, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of moving parts to being a successful MSP. And so if you follow the folks that's doing these M&As, they have a certain set of criteria when they evaluate owner dependence, the culture of the company, the repeatable business, the types of contracts, is it long term, et cetera, et cetera. And based on this, they say, hey, you're worth this amount, right?
Mhm.
Um, and if they're not valuing you enough, it should say something about the strength of your business. So whether you listen to me or people like Michael or others or whatever, you
Mhm.
need to really look inwards into your business. And
Yeah.
the original, I guess, spark that this came from is we've been doing the 50 best managed IT companies assessment for like over a
Yeah.
decade. And I mean, it's 240 questions, right?
Yeah,
And
that's the deep dive. When I looked at this, I mean that's a lot of questions. You're getting a lot of intelligence.
it's tons.
Yeah.
And that actually feeds all the parameters, right,
Mhm.
of how these companies operate. And based upon that, we can track that year over year. And then we could see how people are going up or down and whatever. And we do track the top scores. So we have a benchmark.
Yeah.
So we know if you're above it or if you're below it and how far
Yeah.
apart. So now I think we're in that phase where we need to help at least MSPs understand
Mhm.
where they are in that poverty line and to give them a bit of a roadmap of how to
Yeah.
get to wherever they want to be.
So we're going to get into that, but I do want to bring up Michael Contento because that was a very interesting point that he said a really strong revenue player
Yeah.
is sort of like below the poverty line, where a small revenue player, because of all the things that they've done for sustainability, like you mentioned, is above the. So, in terms of like distinguishing the traditional channel player with this new age MSP, how do you see it playing out?
So I mean, there's a haves and the have-nots, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of aging out of the MSPs as well, where they don't want to really invest further time and money
Mm-hmm.
into modernizing their business, right? Um, there's also this obviously managed services where people are making the most money from, and some SaaS stuff, right? And the reality is like I love to use the analogy of a painter, right? I mean, we all start out with the paintbrush, the paint, and the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
And if I paint something or a Picasso paints something, one is worth 50 million and another is worth 50 cents. And I'll let you guess which one it is. So
Well, if you cut off your ear, it might be worth a little bit more. But anyways, I digress.
painted in blood. But the reality is that it's not the tools,
Yeah.
it's what you do with the tools.
Right.
And some of these MSPs are so great at how they leverage the tools and so on. They're just doing really great. So I take a lot of my examples from them. I
Mm-hmm.
see what their best practices look like. And I would always say, hey, here's an example of someone doing some great stuff, right? Follow that lead. So that's sort of how, I kind of have a convo with some of these MSPs.
So speaking of Congo, let's say I'm an MSP leader. How do I find out where I am on this line?
First step, man, go to the 50 best managed IT companies
Mhm.
.com assessment. It's free. It's always been free. It'll
Yeah.
always be free. It's been free forever. And it's 240 questions. So hold on. Get your team involved. Split
Mhm.
up the questions as by categories. Take the assessment. You could take it today, tomorrow, next month, next year, whenever you're ready. It's open 24/7. And then it gives you an assessment. It tells you your scores, and it just gives you an idea of what's wrong.
Yeah.
And then from there, you have a choice to make, because we do not tell you how to fix it. We have no
No.
coaching skills for this, my friends. So
No.
I can help recommend some people, but we don't do it. But
Yeah.
once you find out what's wrong,
Mhm.
then it's going to give you a good 10-mile eye high overview of where you fit in.
Mhm.
And then I would strongly, 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 strongly suggest that you have a chat with some M&A person. Maybe it's a Michael Contendo, or to do some kind of an evaluation, man.
Yeah.
And let them go with a deep dive into your business, your numbers, your head count, your cost per this, all those things that those number of people do, right? And that's going to give you a very good, I say, image
Mhm.
of your company from a best practice, the cultural, soft skills perspective, as well as the numbers. And actually, quite honestly, most people, if you look at these two things, you can kind of figure out where
Mhm.
you are,
Yeah.
and to improve them is not, it's not rocket science. There's lots of people and help out there.
Yeah. So when I looked at all this, I certainly came to a conclusion. I know we talked earlier about doom and gloom, right? But the primary one is that the old model seems to be dead, or maybe actually is dead. But the corpse is still breathing, or something like that. Why? Why?
Zombieland.
Why do you think that?
So it's two big reasons. AI changed the game forever.
Yep.
That genie ain't going back in the bottle.
Nope.
And I have firsthand seen what AI can do for us. I've firsthand seen what AI is doing for some MSPs. And I'm just going to say that what AI can do for an MSP is sort of like miraculous.
Hmm.
Efficiencies, the information, the data, it's just incredible, right? What it does. I'm talking about productivity gains by 30, 40, 50%.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of anything that anybody could buy that gives them 30, 40, 50% productivity gains.
No, no, and if you look at some of the examples that was shared at the Channel Next Central conference, the CEO of Hover basically
Yeah.
created his own COO.
Yes.
I mean, that's a $500,000 a year salary that
Yeah.
is limited to nothing, but maybe getting more efficiency because they work around the clock. And
100%.
then also, our good friend Shane Gibson providing tons of insights there.
It's incredible.
Yeah, but
I
let me
just want
bring
to
you
add
back.
to as well that
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
the AI, but also the autonomous AI agentic models. That thing just keeps working and working and working like nonstop, right? It was so
Yeah,
funny because as you and I were interviewing Chris Day, and he had his agentic AI running doing coding or whatever it was doing, and he said, "Man,
yeah.
I got to go see what my agents are up to," right? And it's quite interesting when you really think about it
Mhm,
that you got these things
mhm.
using powerful intelligence that's constantly working,
Yep,
right? 24/7, like no human can keep up, right? So
that's right.
this agentic slash autonomous slash AI thing, whatever that thing is, and wherever
Mhm.
it's evolving to, is the framework that's
Yeah,
rechanging it. As a matter of fact, I use another thinking when I it's kind of the AI agentic operating system for MSPs. We're actually changing operating systems. We're going from a human base slash traditional tools like RMM, PSAs type
right.
thing, and we're going into an agentic autonomous operating system.
Yeah, you're talking about the artificial intelligence operating system for MSPs, right? I was gonna bring that up. Why is that important?
Well, I just have this gut feeling, man, that
Mhm.
no MSP will survive if they don't switch
Yeah,
over
we're
the
talking
operating
doom and
system.
gloom, I know.
Yeah, I want to say no. I hope
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
yeah.
But when I see companies, MSPs operating in this capacity, this level of efficiency, I also look to, and I always ask them, like, where do you get your customers from? Right? How do you get net new customers? Because they're growing like crazy,
Mhm.
right? So, Julian, we're so efficient that we actually can poach customers from any MSP in our neighborhood. Why? Well, they're just not like us. They're not efficient. They're not able to do what we do. We do more with less.
Mhm.
And isn't that the ultimate competitive advantage,
It
right?
is.
Being
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to do more than your next competitor with less. How will you compete with that company, right? If you got a small burger shop and
Mhm.
you're selling your burgers at $20 a burger and McDonald's open up beside you, how do you compete, right? The
How do
compet
you compete?
is very difficult. So
Yeah.
that is where a lot of customers are being poached, right? And we talked originally at the beginning that if you lose a certain amount of customers, you might not be able to keep up. Now you're talking about MSPs, it's already advanced. They're already all in.
Yeah,
they jumped ship, right? And they
yeah.
made it very efficient. So that's a big challenge. And that's why I say unless you actually move to some sort of agentic sort of operating system, an AI based MSP operating system, I'm not sure how you can physically compete in the market.
Well, I was thinking about that too. Like there's always that trusted advisor where you know the customer over 20 years, and you've been to the barbecues, and you've helped build that business, and you do this repeatedly across there. There's that, but still, at the end of the day, right? Doing more with less because of AI, that only goes so far, right? And I'm with you on that. I think it's very, very difficult. But it leads into my next question, Julian,
Well,
about
by the way, Paul, there is value in the relationships
of course
because
there is. I'm not
depending
I'm
on
not
where
dismissing it.
yeah, depending on where you work and live,
Yeah.
right, that relationship
Yeah. Yeah.
is unbreakable, no matter what you have AI
It,
or no
it,
AI,
it, it
right?
is, but that customer is going to be asking tough questions eventually, right?
Yeah,
Because hey, if it is a burger shop and a massive chain opens up like In and Out or Carl's Jr.'s or whatever,
yeah,
you're thinking, hey, wow, I gotta come up with some secret sauce here to
yeah.
compete,
Obviously,
right?
because if your clients are
Yeah.
going to be also going to face competition
They are.
from their competitors who are using
This
AI.
is my point. Yeah.
You've got to help them too, right? For
We
sure,
do. We
100%.
do. We do. This is an ongoing situation. But like I said, it leads into my next question, which, how does consolidation play a factor in all this? It looks to me that, those who are above the poverty line are clearly making inroads and further distancing themselves from the pack. What will that do in terms of ongoing channel consolidation in your point of view?
Well, so far from what I can tell, about 18 or 19% of the channel community has been rolled up, private
Mhm.
equity. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're getting these groups, you got your group of 50, you got your group of 100, and economy is a skill, right? If you bring in a group of people, you standardize, leverage each other's skill sets, et cetera, et cetera. All you're doing is really pooling resources,
Mhm.
right? Making
Mhm.
it efficient and getting a larger geographic map. And
Mhm.
because you add a company who does, I don't know, cybersecurity really, really well, right? You can then offer that services to all the other MSPs you buy who are not doing that really, really well, and so on. So you can do this cross pollination
Mhm.
of skill sets and so on. So it's certainly smart business.
Mhm.
And anytime PEs are doing this type of stuff, there's money to be made, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Without a doubt.
yeah, we're already hitting some billion-dollar MSPs already, and so on. So
Mhm.
uh, that's there, and roll-ups are happening every day.
Mhm.
So you can either sell, you can join other groups. There's many, many, playbooks in
Mhm.
how people are emanating. But yeah, that's impacting the market because as they polarize, these are the ones that's going to be going after with a better marketing strategy, with a better productivity, with better pricing structures, with better margins, better streamline. And these are the ones they're just going to go and get business wherever they are.
Mhm.
So in reality, they're getting you're going to be facing bigger and tougher competition as consolidation continues.
So we talked about the top half. Let's talk about the bottom half. Is there anything that they can do right now to reach a baseline?
100%. Nothing is ever, it's not over to that lady sings, right? And the reality is that if you're an MSP, the first thing you better get a grip on
Mhm.
is where you are today. There's that old saying, you got to know where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there from here.
Mhm.
That stuff will be 1,000 years old, and that's still going to be the same. They used to
Mhm.
do that 10,000 years ago. I want to
Yep.
go over there. I'm here. How do I get there? I got to go over that
How
mountain.
do I get there?
So, I mean, if you have that mentality, first look inwards. You
Mhm.
need to be a better leader, stronger leader, because you're not going to lead the company with the same attitude. You could be skeptical all you want. You could look backwards all you want. But
Mhm.
if you keep looking in the rearview mirror, you're going to hit something in front. So change your leadership skills, right?
Mhm.
Be a bit more open, embrace some change a little bit better. Start talking to other MSPs that's there. Our event's a perfect example, or any event.
Perfect. Yeah.
Talk to other MSPs. They're love to tell you, where they're doing and how they're doing.
And we have the mastermind peer groups. Like, I
Hundred
mean,
percent,
it's all set up.
100%. As a matter of fact, you're so right. Join a mastermind peer group, my friends.
Mhm.
If you want to know how to navigate that, it is join 8 of your peers. Start talking about where you are, and
Mhm.
believe me, 8 people in a room, they'll know how to get anywhere
That's right.
from
That's
here.
right. They can
So
solve
there are
almost any
ways.
problem. MSPs are the best problem solvers on earth.
1,000%, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Julian, we've come up with an 8-point plan. I actually printed it off here. But like I said off the top, we want to provide channel intelligence to help you in your business. So why don't we go over the list and just basically give me your 2 cents on each, okay?
Okay.
Number one, establish your MSP as the primary brand rather than just a reseller of other brands. Outcomes matter more than products and brands.
Yeah. Forget about what you sell. The product is just doesn't matter, right? Just make sure the darn thing works. All right.
Mhm.
Wait long enough, and someone else is going to come out with a product that does better. I mean, that's just the way the market is. And because of AI, functionality is accelerating. So wait long enough and products will get better. So focus on your brand. Who are you? What's your value proposition? Why the hell should your customers care about you? Right? Are you taking the donuts to them every day? Do you really understand their business? And I will challenge you that the more you know about your customer's business and the deeper knowledge that you have about your customer, the better you're going to be able to help them navigate the game and become more competitive. So if you can actually, focus on yourself as the brand and use the people as the people, the face of the brand, and you put yourself out there so people know who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, your journey matters, right? And once people understand that and they have that personal connection to your company and brand, believe you me, very, very difficult to break that, even with a price.
So true. Very few do that. Okay, number two, integrating autonomous agentic AI across all operational layers and adapting to tokenization of applications, especially those powered by AI. This was a topic at the ChannelNext Central Conference that I think a lot of people left still wondering, what is that all about?
You know, I've been avoiding this discussion for a year now.
Yeah.
Because the outcomes are not what people want to hear. But let's just be clear. I mean, you need to leverage AI. I think that's pretty obvious, right? Mm-hmm. Ask all the most successful MSPs. If you want to know, you can come to our events, or I can give you names of people. Ask them how they're using AI today, right? And what they're doing with it is blowing the market up for them, right? They're really just doing incredible. However, we've got these LLMs out there, and this is an important point actually, and I hope this gets across because people don't understand we're migrating from a SaaS model to a token model.
Yep.
Right? I would like to use the analogy of electricity, right? If you went and you bought a new fridge or a stove or a new TV and you plug it into your home, your electric bill goes up. Doesn't matter how much it uses, it goes up. It doesn't go down, right? I don't think if you buy a new fridge and you plug it in, your bill doesn't go down for electricity, right? It goes up. This is a consumption, right, model. And AI, we think about LLMs like, the big ones. I won't call their names, but everybody knows them, right?
Yeah.
You buy them, as a consumer, you give them $20 a month or a couple $100 a month for a business account and so on. But that's just a consumer version, right? So if I'm a SaaS software company and let's say a cybersecurity company, and I want to plug in to the LLMs, right, to make my software better, I, as a software company, do not pay $20 a month. I do not get it for free. I pay by consumption, tokenization. Give you an example, Salesforce pays $300 million a year in tokens. Not because they want to, because if they want to use and leverage these LLMs, you got to pay somebody, right? They're not going to get it for free.
It's the cost of doing business for them.
100%. Now they're doing billions, so they can probably absorb that. But think of every application known to mankind today and ask yourself one question. Which one of these applications will not be leveraging AI?
Yeah. The list's a blank piece of paper.
Yeah. So meaning that all of these companies, all these software companies, those $2 ones on the app phone or the free ones on the app phone and so on, they're going to have to start charging at some point because they will be charged to use the elements. And the last time I checked, it's a very expensive venture to build your own LLM. And so you can't build one, right? So once this become ubiquitous with everyone is using LLMs or AI into their platforms, right? And I'm not talking about algorithms. That's not really the AI I'm talking about. These language models, they're going to have to pay the sources, right? Somebody's got to pay somebody, right? So once you get this stuff into your system, to your application, as the vendor of the software, I have to find a way to pass it on. It's either I eat it or I increase my price somehow, right? And
So
so
it's going to be passed on. That's face
somehow,
facts. Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
get tariffs, you don't, you pass it on, right? You get taxes, you pass it on,
yeah,
right? You get tokens, you pass
yeah.
it on. So this shift between paying on a license fee per user per month, per year, whatever model, is going to be augmented with an additional line item called tokens.
Yeah,
And it might be buried into it, it might be extra, but it's no difference than your cell phone, right? You get a basic fee, and if
that's
you
right.
go
It's no different.
over,
Yep,
you pay the extra.
we
That's
do.
that's where we're headed.
All right. Next is implementing AI powered strategies within both sales and marketing departments. If they have the marketing department, that's another story for another day. But
Yeah.
what do you think of that?
Well, I'll tell you, the lowest hanging fruit to leverage AI is sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And folks like Shane Gibson, they wrote a book on this. All right. So there are very, very easy ways to get into the game, and having an AI powered playbook, right, for sales. And I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, actually, for the first time ever, right, everybody can become a better salesperson and a better marketing person with very minimal effort,
That's right.
because you can actually you can automate a lot of the things that actually took very, very sophisticated capabilities to do in the past. And I know Shane showed exactly how he does it. And
Yeah.
if you were there, it's like, damn, I can do that too. So for the
And
first time,
actually, you can.
yes, for the
It's
first
not
time,
that difficult.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was an MSP, that's the first thing I do.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Developing a profound understanding of your clients' business goals and competitive advantages and disadvantages to ensure they achieve their desired outcomes and success.
So if you and I were really going to become consultants or
Mhm.
true business advisors to anybody, you probably want to know the customer, right?
I would
Um,
think.
we just can't just land into the customer and says, do this, 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 and the other. It can't be cookie
Yeah.
cutter, right?
Yeah.
It's so the deeper you understand your customer's problems and challenges and so on, the better you can do this. And again, I just want to say that with AI, the research just got a lot easier. So, double down, my friends. And if you're having a great success with a certain type of customer in a certain type of category, and you to invest a lot of time to understand it, and I just use the word at a DNA level,
Mhm.
then you can take that skill set, that knowledge, and replicate it to similar type companies. And that's where the true revenue accelerator comes
Yeah.
from, the deeper the understanding.
And that's also part of the marketing that you can do because if you could do a repeatable solution, you should advertise that anyways.
100%.
Consistently staying ahead of industry trends to serve as an indispensable partner and source of truth to your clients, getting very sticky and ensuring that you have a at your set at your client's AI decision, a seat at your client's AI decision table. Obviously, first thing you got to do is read EChannelNews on a
Yeah.
daily basis, but other than that,
Yeah. 100%. Read everybody, watch videos. I mean,
yeah,
here's the thing. Um, you are in the IT business if you're an MSP. So get with the program, my friend. If you don't know, right, and your customers are coming to you with a question and you can't answer, right, or you're non-familiar, like, hey, how should I use AI? Um, if you can't answer these questions, you're no longer that trusted advisor, right? So you got to stay ahead of the game. And if you could find a way to, scale up faster and have a seat at that AI table, because every company is thinking AI, 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 right?
Mhm.
If you could find a way to, wiggle your way onto that seat and say, hey, I can do AI for you in this capacity. I can help you secure it. I can help you assess it. I can give you some governance. I can, start giving you some advice. right?
Mhm.
Workflows and et cetera, et cetera. And here's how you can build agentic AIs and so on, safely and securely, and governance and compliance issues and et cetera, et cetera. Then you can muscle your way and actually demand a seat at that table, because every time a customer adds AI into their workplace, they're opening themselves up to a whole list of risks in the
Yeah.
cybersecurity world. So you can win and earn that seat very, very quickly if you try.
One of the things I think the whole team here should be proud of is how we, address the mental health issues at the Channel Next Central conference. But leading me to my another point here, fostering a team culture that prioritizes a healthier, smarter work-life balance, forgetting the human element in business is a direct path to being unhappy and increasing mental stress. What's your 2 cents on that?
It's pretty simple, man. I mean, the last
Yeah.
time I checked, nobody likes to do business with robots, right? We're not there yet. And no one likes automated things to any degree. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, to some degree. Um, but if we're in a business of human to human, and people do business with people, right? And if you don't foster a decent culture and take care of your people and make them healthy and strong and not, crazily stressed out, right? That translates to your customers, right?
Mhm.
So if you have stressed employees struggling, that's going to translate to your clients, right? How many times have you been upset and then you take it out on the dog, or your kids or whatever, right? Or other
I know.
people.
Not the proudest moments for sure.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's just human.
Yeah.
So maintain a healthy atmosphere, great environment, good culture, and hang out. And I'll just say, have ice cream Fridays, man.
All right. Stagnant and resistant leadership that relies on outdated business models.
When it really boils down to why MSPs fail or succeed, it comes down to that leadership, right? If you're not up to speed, or you're a pretend leader,
Mhm.
or you have an ego problem, or whatever those things that people have challenges with,
Yeah.
um, then you're gonna fail, right? You're only gonna grow so high. So learn about being a better leader. We have lots of people and companies who help do this. I know, like Natalie does a great job with leadership, and Andrew as well.
Mhm.
There's so many people who knows how to build better leaderships, right, within companies. And if you just understand the framework and then add your tone and your thing to it, right, you could actually do a much better job. It's not about changing your behaviors to a
Mhm.
degree you don't even recognize yourself,
Yeah.
but it's adjusting yourself to deal with humans. Andrew did a really cool example with Lego at the event, where you
Andrew
give it,
Leaf.
yeah, you give all of everybody
Yeah.
a little piece of
Yeah.
Lego, and you said, build a bird. Um, and you give us 30
I,
seconds.
I tried to do that myself. It's not easy. Yeah.
Well, sadly, my bird had no wings. And then I realized, oh my God, birds usually have wings.
Is it
But
still a bird without wings? Anyways, sorry.
the cool thing was that everybody had a different bird and a different configuration. It was like
Yeah.
tens of thousands of variations. And once you understand people are like this, right, then you have to understand that you have to figure out a way to communicate with people differently,
Mhm.
right? And the more you understand this, the less friction you have within your organization.
Mhm.
And by the way, this skill translate to dealing with your customers. So if your team understands how to deal with each other better, they can actually understand how to deal with their customers better. So it's a skill, man. Leadership is a kind of a skill, and it's not about who you are. It's really about what you do.
Okay, I'm at the last point, and just quickly, proper governance, security, or else AI becomes a liability.
Man, I just want to let you know that AI has no delete key,
Mhm.
right? And whatever they're telling us, assume that they're lying. Hopefully they're not,
Mhm.
right? But once you flip that switch on, and AI is now live, you got to deal with lots of other headwinds. You got to deal with people taking AI outside of the company, using it in a
Yeah.
shop AI. You got to figure out that AI, there's ways to poison AI. There's a
Mhm.
ways to manipulate AI. We've actually seen how you can actually manipulate agents as well. Um, so the answer is pretty simple. We don't know what this species can do, called
Mhm.
AI, and before you let it run around like the alien, right? It's not a pet. Before you let it run around, understand the beast and put up a bit of guardrails, right?
Yeah,
And if you put some guardrails, some governance, learn, go, crawl, walk, run slowly,
yeah.
and I think that's gonna at least protect you. Now, there are lots of other moving parts, but at least if you start there, I mean, you have a better chance of reaching the finish line.
Yeah, yeah, I said that at the show as well. You know, you got to create a baseline threshold for this, right? When does a human take over? When you put on pause, and when you just stop, right? You got to pull the plug. All right.
100.
So this was really, really extensive. I thank you for developing this, and I think it's really going to help channel partners in general, MSPs out there. I'm going to be writing an article on this, so look for that on echannelnews.com soon. Um, and Julian, any last remaining thoughts before we close?
Well, look, I mean, this is a 30-minute overview recap,
Mhm.
right? But if you really want to dig into this, it's an all-year gig, right?
Mhm.
I'd recommend people, double down, spend 2 days, leave your phones, in your pockets, and be in the room, right?
Mhm.
Don't stop working in your business and do some on business working, right? And the answers that we brought to these events is we brought 30 speakers, experts,
Mhm.
and we brought them together under one roof and put them together with MSPs and figure out how do we grow business together. So
Yeah,
the answers were in there. Um, for me, an event is about learning, sure, but it's about networking, right? And the most valuable thing you get from any event, no matter which event it is, by meeting people, knowing who they are, understanding how they can fit into your little ecosystem so you can
Mhm.
leverage them moving forward. Because going and finding a cool thing to sell, going to find, some whatever it is, you'll get those jewels, right? Those
Yeah,
nuggets.
yeah,
But having that relationships with people and being able to nurture them and cultivate them and leverage them and lean on them, be part of a peer group so you can continue that journey way, way long after the event's over. That's why these events matter. So, and it's not just events, because if you want to have a lot of content, my friend, EChannelNews is there for you, of course. Little plug, self plug for us.
self plug for us. No, but I mean, it is a starting point for sure. You know, this is where you should be all be going. We're also going to be doing the Channel Next West event in Vancouver in late October, October 26th, I believe.
Yep.
So definitely looking forward to seeing all those great partners out west.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
even if you're anywhere in Canada, just go on down, my friends.
oh,
Just
absolutely.
fly in.
You're all welcome. And this is the type of channel intelligence you're going to get to help your business grow and not be behind or below the poverty line. Okay.
100%, Paulo.
Julian, again, thank you very much. Always very insightful. Again, thank you as well for watching us on eChannel News. That's it from me, Paul Dunley Bletto. Until next time, so long.